On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 50, nays are 0. Bill has received records constitutional majority is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator on the 45th.
Mr. President, I move to unanimous consent to remove
Is there
House Bill
objection on
885 from the table.
885? Is there objection? Without objection, 885 will be removed from the table. Secretary will read 885.
House Bill 885, Representative Jones, the 47th, and others, a bill entitled Enactment, Chapter 3 of Title 31 of the CGA relating to county boards of health, so as to repeal a statute relating to the option for certain counties to create a county board of health and wellness by ordinance and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Health and Human Services Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 885, a bill to be entitled Enactment, Chapter 3 of Title 31 of the CGA relating to county boards of health, so as to repeal a statute relating to the option for certain counties to create a county board of health and wellness by ordinance, to provide for an effective date, to provide for transition to county boards of health, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator on the 45th. Present the bill. Please give the Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill moves the Fulton County Board of Public Health back into the state public health system. As you know, Fulton County Public Health Board is the only one in the state that's not a part of the system. I'll be glad to answer any questions, or I yield the well. Thank you. I yield the well.
Senator from the 39th, you wish to speak?
Mr. President, members of the Senate, the person carrying the bill did not outline what is at stake here. The fact, and I assume that the reason why this bill is being presented, the short-term reason, is problems that have occurred at the Department of Public Health in Fulton County. I will admit there have been problems at the Department of Health, Public Health, or Wellness as it's called, over in Fulton County. But those are not structural problems. Those are problems of personnel. The director of the Department of Public Health in Fulton County has been moved. They resigned. They're no longer there. And this kind of structural change in Fulton County Department of Public Health is not needed. I would hope that we would vote against it. This is another in a long line of anti-Fulton County pieces of legislation, and I would implore you to vote against it, and because it's not needed. The Fulton County Department of Public Health has worked well up until these last few years where there's been some problems. It's not needed. I don't know what the ulterior is, but I think this is the wrong way to go, and I would hope you would vote against it. I yield the well unless there are questions.
Thank you, Senator. Questions on the adoption of committee substitute? Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th.
All right. Mr. President, isn't it true that this bill passed overwhelmingly by the minority party in the House, and the majority of the minority party in the Senate is in favor of this bill? Is that not true?
Chair recognizes Senator from 39th.
Isn't it true that this is the Senate? This is not the House. This is not the minority party in the House. This is the Senate. And what they do in the House is their business, and what we do over here is our business.
That's why we only let 5 into the chamber of House members, because this is the Senate. Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th. What purpose you rise?
Is it not true that the Fulton County Board of Commissioners approved of this bill and asked for this change?
On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 35, the nays are 15. This bill having records constitutional majority is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 168.
Read the caption.
Full caption on that and full caption on that.
Senate Bill 168 by Senator Jones of the 25th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 3 of Title 50 of the OCGA relating to state symbols so as to designate the old governor's mansion as the official state historic house to provide for related matters and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 168, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 3 of Title 50 of the OCGA relating to state symbols so as to designate the adoptable dog as the official state dog to provide for legislative findings and declarations to provide for related matters, repeal convicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to bring you Senate Bill 168. This actually is not the original bill that we'd sent over to the House, but as a favor to our retiring representative over there, I bring to you the what is now known as the official adoptable dog bill for the official state dog of Georgia. This would be a good PR move for the state. It not only will recognize the thousands of volunteers that help out our animal shelters, but it also show them a great deal of appreciation for their hard work and them volunteering their time and their resources to trying to improve our state, even not just the people in the state, but the animals as well. I yield the well.
Chair, hold on. You got a couple questions real quick. Chair recognizes Senator the 8th. 8th.
Oh, that's funny.
Quieten the chamber down.
I wanted to object to it. I wanted to speak against it.
You wanted to object?
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll get there in a moment. No further questions. Chair recognizes Senator 31st.
That was further question. Yield the well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to point out that we do have a lot of great volunteers in the state to do a lot of good things for us. This is a measure brought to the state by the Humane Society of the United States of Georgia, who has no animal shelters. They collect millions of dollars and use them solely for political purposes. It is a disgrace to have a state dog that is of an unknown breed and unloved. And I would just urge you to vote against this bill.
Is there objection? There is objection by the senator from the 8th on this. All of those. All those in favor of agreeing to the House substitute to SB 1. Oh, you want to speak? Senator is recognized. Senator from the 8th.
Folks, this is not a pleasant task to come down and talk about a bill that was introduced by one of the colleagues that I served with for many years in the House. In fact, he was in the freshman class that I came in with. But this bill has some problems, and there's some things that you want to realize. This bill sets up to recognize the adoptable dog that's in the pounds that you can go down and adopt. And anybody that's ever been down there, your heart is going to bleed. You kind of have compassion for all of these animals, or most of them at least. But the truth is these animals are not a monogamous group of animals. You've got a whole spectrum of animals there that range all the way from the little Chihuahua, Pekingese type, all the way to pit bulls. Most of them are very lovable and very, very much of a positive image. But you've got some, and if you have this come into place, then you're going to have people that's going to use this against the state of Georgia. To use a parable, if we wanted to take and use wild animals as a symbol for the state of Georgia, because we're crazy about wild animals and we want to have it, but we didn't identify a specific animal, then somebody that will want to take and present a positive image of Georgia, they could come out and they could pick a big old 12-point buck. That would be good. But somebody that wanted to project a negative image, they could come out and pick a skunk. And somebody that takes an adoptable dog and goes down there, they can take a pit bull dog and make that as representative of state. This, I've tried to get them to look at, there's some alternatives, and this needs to be addressed at a later date. Thank you.
You do have a question. You want to yield for a question?
Yes, I'll yield.
Chair recognizes Senator from 31st.
Senator Yield,
Yes.
could you identify an adoptable dog if you saw one walking down the street?
That any of them that's down there in that pound would be adoptable.
But you couldn't identify him if you saw him walking down the street?
No.
Thank you.
Senators move the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 168. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Senator from the 54th will stand by, removing a bill from the calendar. 56, excuse me. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 30 and the nays are 14. The Senate has agreed to the House substitute. Chair recognizes Senator from 56.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to pull House Bill 408 off the table.
408, read the caption. Is there objection? Without objection, read the caption.
House Bill 408, Representative Willard of the 51st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 13 and Title 48 of the CGA relating to excise tax on rooms, lodging, accommodations used to clarify the application of certain provisions to certain municipalities and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance offers the following substitute to House Bill 408, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter
Chair
13.
recognizes Senator from
for other
56.
purposes.
Thank you, Mr. President. This just allows two cities, Sandy Springs and Johns Creek, to keep their hotel motel tax at home and use it in their community as opposed to sending it downtown at the World Congress Center. Bonds are paid off. No changes. Any questions? I'll yield the well. No questions. Thank you.
Had a question, but he's yielded the well. This is the question now is on the adoption of committee substitute. Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Agree and report to committee which fail to pass the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary unlock the machine. Senator from the 37th will stand by. 37th. While we're voting, let me just take this moment and ask the Senate to join me in welcoming all the beautiful, wonderful First Ladies that are with us tonight. We appreciate each one of y'all for being here. Great honor to have you. On the motion, the ayes are 38 and nays are 10, and the Senate is passed. HB 408. Oh, I'm sorry. Chair recognizes item 37. 37.
Which bill?
191.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 191.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 191 by Senator President 37th and others, a bill to be entitled and enacted in Chapter 9 of Title 25 of the OCGA relating to blasting or excavating near utility facilities and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 191, a bill to be entitled and enacted in Chapter 9 of Title 25 of the OCGA relating to blasting or excavating near utility facilities and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes item 37. Present the bill.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, the only change in this bill was, and this was a utility locate bill known as the White Line Bill, the House changed the period of time that utility locates are good from 21 days to 30 days. I fully concur and urge your passage of this bill.
All those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Senator from the 47th will stand by. You'll be next. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 41, the nays are 7, and the Senate has agreed to the House substitute to Senate Bill 191. Chair recognizes Senator from the 47th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 379.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 379 by Senator Gann of the 47th and others, a bill to be entitled and enacted to amend Code Section 48-8-3 of the OCGA relating exemption from sales and use taxes, providing exemption for fire districts and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute: Senate Bill 379, a bill to be entitled and enacted to amend Title 48 of the OCGA relating to revenue and taxation to change provisions relating to the amount payable at redemption and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 47th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I said 379 is a culmination of a couple bills we've passed before. Said one of them is helping the firefighters in the state. Said that are elected, serve an elected board and supported by ad valorem tax. Said making them sales tax exempt. One of the things this also does is combine House Bill 924. It's a goodwill bill that allows the industries that do job training to be tax exempt. But it's a good bill, and I'll ask for your favorable consideration.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 17th.
On Senate Bill 379 pursuant to Senate Rule 5-1-.
Senator will be excused, invoking the rule. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. You're voting on the Senate to agree to the House substitute to SB 379. Senator from the 37th will stand by. 37th, stand by. On the motion, the yeas are 36 to nays are 10. Senate's agreed to the House substitute Senate Bill 379. Chair recognizes Senator from 37.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 100.
Read the caption.
House Bill 100 by Representative Dixon of the 6th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2, Title 20 of the OCGA relating to elementary secondary education to change provisions relating to the date by which a child must reach a certain age in order to be eligible for enrollment in certain educational programs and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following amendment to House Bill 100 by striking lines 1 through 64 and inserting in lieu thereof the following to amend Part 4 of Article 6 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the OCGA relating to financing elementary and secondary education and for other purposes.
The 37th is recognized.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I urge you to agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute HB 100. This was a bill that we had that was at the request of OPB to establish some guidelines on a local school district that would have virtual schools. The House further clarified it with some additions. I urge that you pass the bill.
All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. I would like for this to get the Senate's attention for just one more moment. I'd like the Senate to join me in expressing our deep, sincere appreciation to Liz that works with the minority. Liz Flowers works with the minority party. I think she's going to be taking another job, moving to D.C. We value you and appreciate you very, very much. Where? Where? New York, New York, New York. All right, good. New York, New York, here you come. All right. On the motion, the yeas are 44, the nays are 6. Senate has agreed to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to HB 100. Chair recognizes Senator from the 53rd.
President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute Senate Resolution 1027.
Read the caption.
Senate Resolution 1027 by Senator Mullis, 53rd, and others, resolution creating the Joint Music Economic Development Study Committee and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute Senate Resolution 1027, a resolution creating the Joint Music Economic Development Study Committee and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 53rd. Present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the Joint Senate and House Music Study Committee, and the House changed the makeup of the members in the music industry by just saying from the music industry instead of individually. Mr. President, I would appreciate the passage of this bill. Thank you. I yield the way.
Senators moved. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Who's next? Who? 23rd will stand by. 23rd will stand by. On the passage of the bill, the ayes are 50, the nays are 3, and the Senate has agreed to the House substitute to SR 1027. Chair recognizes Senator 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 262.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 262 by Senator Stoner, 23rd, a bill to be entitled enactment Title 15 of the OCGA relating to court so as to change provisions relating to when a judge, judicial officer, grand jury, or trial juror may be disqualified for presiding or serving as applicable and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute. Senate Bill 262, a bill to be entitled enactment Title 15 of the OCGA relating to court so as to change provisions relating to courts and court management, to change provisions relating to when a judge, judicial officer, grand juror, or trial juror may be disqualified from presiding or serving as applicable due to being related by consanguinity or affinity to a party and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 23rd.
The only changes to SB 262 are the degrees of kinship are moved back from 4 to 3, which was the original level in the original bill as filed. And it also recognizes superior and state courts' powers to set rules on e-filing or payments by electronic means. And also authorizes the clerks to accept payments, electronic payments. I yield the well.
You got a question, Senator? No questions. All those in favor of the Senator's motion, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. You're voting to agree to the House substitute SB 262. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 39, the nays are 12. The Senate has agreed to the House substitute to SB 262. Some of you may not have the cards on this, so just follow along with me. I already did that one. Senator from the 17th on 377.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to Senate Bill 377.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 377 by Senator Jeffries of the 17th and others, a bill to be entitled an act for the creation of one or more community improvement districts in Newton County and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Senator 17.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 377 is a local bill for Newton County pertaining to CIDs, and there were some typos, and they were corrected, and that was the amendments. Thank you very much.
All those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 44 and the nays are 2, and the Senate has agreed to the House amendment to SB 377. Chair recognizes Senator from the 53rd, 1038.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Resolution 1038.
Read the caption.
Senate Resolution 1038 by Senator Mullins of the 53rd, a resolution creating the Joint Alternative Fuels Infrastructure Study Committee and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute Senate Resolution 1038, a resolution creating the Joint Alternative Fuels Infrastructure and Vehicle Study Committee and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator 53rd.
Gosh, I've got exercise tonight, haven't I? Thank you, Mr. President. This is the Senate, the House and Senate Joint Transportation Study Committee regarding alternative fuel sources for large fleets and so forth when it comes to LP type and CSI and all that. Alternative fuels. We've changed the appointment members so it talks about the industry, not individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your support. I'll yield the yell.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 45, the nays are 3. The Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 54th. 54th.
And I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 347.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 347 by Senator Bethel of the 54th, the bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 33 of the OCGA and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Senator 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, this is the Georgia Captive Insurance Company Act. You passed it unanimously. The House changed lines 438 through 440 to clarify the specific line of insurance that deals with vehicles. That is what we intended and what you passed unanimously and they passed unanimously. I would ask your favorable consideration. It's just clarifying language from the previous version. I'll yield the well.
You have a question, Chair? No, no question, no question. Chair recognizes Senator 48.
Mr. President, pursuant to Senate rules and out of an abundance of caution, I ask unanimous consent to be excused from voting on Senate Bill 347.
Without objection, Senator will be excused. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0, and the Senate has agreed to House substitute to SB 347. Chair recognizes Senator from the 32nd. 32nd.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 327.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 327 by Senator Hill of 32nd. Others, the bill to be entitled an act amendment Part 1 of Article 3 of Chapter 5, Title 50 of the OCGA and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute. Senate Bill 327, bill to be entitled an act amendment Part 1 of Article 3 of Chapter 5, Title 50 of the OCGA relating to general authority, duties, and procedures relative to state purchasing so as to prohibit the state from entering into certain contracts with an individual or company unless those contracts contain certification that such individual or company does not presently conduct a boycott of Israel and will not conduct such boycott for the duration of such contract and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 32nd.
Senate Bill 327 deals with, it's an anti-boycott of Israel products. So basically it says it's a certification in state contracts that require those companies to make a statement within our boilerplate of the contract to say that they don't have a public policy to boycott Israel. What the House did is they stripped out the local and county application, made it only apply to the state. We agree to that. Better to have half a loaf than none. With that, I ask for your favorable support of this amendment, of this
All
bill.
those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 41, the nays are 18. Senate has agreed to the House substitute to SB 327. Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th.
The House substitute to 304 as amended by the Senate.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 304 by Senator Perrin of the 42nd. Others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Section 35-3-34 of the OCGA relating to disclosure and dissemination of criminal records to private persons and businesses, resulting responsibility and liability of issuing Senator and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th. It's quieting down the chamber.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I bring you the amendment to the House substitute to Senate Bill 304. This amendment closely mirrors the language of the House substitute to Senate Bill 304. On day 39, the House Judiciary Non-Civil Committee stripped Senate Bill 304 of its original language and inserted the language of a House bill. Specifically, this amendment strikes lines 1 through 52 of the House substitute to Senate Bill 304 and inserts the title Compassionate Care for Victims of Sexual Assault Act. This act calls for recording and reporting of evidence collected during a forensic medical exam for investigations of rape for the GBI and the General Assembly. The individual performing the exam would be responsible for providing the alleged victim this summary of rights. That is basically what is different from the House version. However, the alleged victim cannot be required, and this is the most important thing that is different than the House version. The victim cannot be required to assign or waive any rights because of the condition he or she is in. Any rights afforded to them in the Crime Victims' Bill of Rights or that might prevent the alleged victim from seeking relief from the Crime Victims' Compensation Board. I'll be glad to answer any questions about this particular bill.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
Yes, I will.
Senator, isn't it true that this is the very important first step to solving a large problem? And I really appreciate your work on this issue.
I appreciate the work that has been done on this issue. What I don't appreciate is Better Georgia, or whatever that acronym is, and the allegations of being accused of many different things, because since the day I stepped into this chamber in 2002, I have done nothing but take care of victims. So I appreciate your interest in this bill.
Thank you, Senator from the 29th.
Will the senator yield?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that the senator in the well has done more for victims of sexual violence than any other member of this chamber?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate that. And I hope by the time that I ever leave this chambers, that one of the things that we can talk about are the changes that we have done with child sex trafficking and sex trafficking in general. And this particular bill fits right in, hand with that particular issue, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. I yield the will.
Senators moved. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 55, the nays are 1, and the Senate has agreed the House substitute the amendment as amended. Chair recognizes Senator from the 47th. 47th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 383.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 383 by Senator Gannon, the 47th, and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 6 of Title 32 of the OCGA of the regulation and maintenance and use of public roads and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute Senate Bill 383, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 3 of Chapter 6 of Title 32 of the OCGA relating to the regulation of signs and signals within the state highway system and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 47th. Hurry up.
Thank you, Mr. President. Look, guys, it's late. I can stay here all night and talk, but I don't want to. I'm eating up your time. I'm going to ask for one thing. I'm going to ask for a unanimous vote on this bill. This bill is important to me. It deals with the dairy. Y'all know about it, Mayfield Dairy, and their sign on their premises. We've restricted this bill to only agritourism industry. We're restricting it to basically, it's almost being the Mayfield Dairy Bill. But I'll ask for your unanimous consent, and I'll stay here and answer questions till the cows come home.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. But all those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. All right, let's calm down on the outburst. Chair recognizes Senator 31st.
Mr. President, is it true that this bill's only made it this far because he bribed us with ice cream?
He's been very, very passionate about the issue, but he ain't going to get a unanimous vote. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 3, and the Senate has agreed to the House substitute to SB 383. Chair recognizes Senator from the 37th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to Senate Bill 420.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 420 by Senator Chambers of the 37th and others, a bill to be entitled and enacted in Chapter 1 of Title 36 of the CGA relating to general provisions applicable to counties which require referendum approval prior to expenditure of public funds to establishing a fixed guideway transit and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following amendment to Senate Bill 420 by deleting lines 73 through 79, inserting in lieu thereof the following. Of 1965, for which any referendum required under such act shall control or to any project within a county or between counties which have approved such sales and use tax, provided that such project and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Senator 37th.
Thank you, Mr. Senate. Mr. President, members of the Senate, I bring you Senate Bill 420. This is the fixed guideway bill that provides for a public referendum before a transit system can be established in a county. The amendment that was made in the House specifically exempts those counties who have already voted to participate in MARTA. That was the only change made to the bill. I urge your passage.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. You're voting on House Bill, or Senate Bill 420, the massive expansion of MARTA. Senator from the 17th, stand by. On the senator's motion, the yeas are 39 and the nays are 13, and the Senate's agreed to the House amendment. Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Resolution 954.
Read the caption.
Senate Resolution 954 by Senator Jeffries of the 17th and others, a resolution authorizing the granting of non-exclusive easements for construction, operation, and maintenance of facilities, utilities, and roads, and ingresses and egresses in and on, over, upon, across, or through property owned by the state of Georgia and the counties of Barstow.
Chair recognizes senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. 954 is the easement bill for the state properties, and it's just like it left here. There was nothing. There's no pipeline language on this bill. Mr. President, I yield the way.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. All right, we're going to have to speed the pace up a little bit, and when I call you, if you don't mind, I'm going to let you break the rule. You don't have to be at your desk, so y'all go ahead and make your way on down and start getting to the well when you're going to be recognized. All those in favor, or excuse me, the yeas are 46, the nays are 4, and the Senate is agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 17th again.
Agree to the House substitute to Senate Resolution 955.
Read the caption and approach.
Senate Resolution 955 by Senator Jefferson the 17th and others, a resolution authorizing the conveyance and lease of various state-owned real properties to provide an effective date and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Senator 17.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is State Properties Conveyance Bill, and they added 3 conveyances in the House. They were Barrow County, Evans County, and Fulton County. Mr. President, I yield the well.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 2. Senate is agreed. The House substitute. Chair recognizes Senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to Senate substitute for House Bill 555.
Read the caption.
House Bill 555, Representative Chandler, 105th, and others, a bill to entitle an action amendment Title 15 of the OCGA within accordance to provide for the reporting of certain statistics regarding juveniles seeking abortion without parental notice and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. This simply deletes one line from what was sent over to the House. I appreciate your favorable consideration.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 20th will stand by. 20th will stand by. On the motion, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 3. This bill, having received the Constitution majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator 20th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Resolution 892.
Read the caption.
Senate Resolution 892 by Senator Walker, the 20th, and others, a resolution recognizing Governor Sonny Perdue and dedicating her in his honor and for the purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 20th.
Thank you. This is just a road naming dedication, and the House added 2 additional roads to it. I'd ask for your favorable vote on it.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 27th. 27th will stand by. 27th. Do what? On the motion, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0, and this Senate is agreed. Chair recognizes Senator number 27.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 275.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 275 by Senator Williams, the 27th, and others, a bill to be entitled an Act Chapter 80, Title 36 of the CGA relating to general provisions regarding county, municipal corporations, and other governmental entities, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator 27.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This bill, only change we made was it narrows down the freedom of speech to just Board of Education members, again, making sure that they have the freedom to speak out against policies they don't agree with. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 18th. 18th will stand by. Well, tonight is a very, very special night for the senator from the 21st and his beautiful bride. They celebrate 32 wonderful years together. Let's give them a round of applause. She will have more jewels in her crown when she gets to heaven than any one lady that I will ever know. On the motion, the yeas are 45, the nays are 1, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senate 18th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amended HB 811 as amended by the Senate.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, 332. SB 332.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute for SB 332.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 332 by Senator Kennedy, the 18th, and others, a bill to be entitled an Act to amend Code Section 16-11-130 of the CGA relating exemptions from Code Section 16-11-126 through 16-11-127.2 and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senate 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Folks, this is Senate Bill 332, which is the Judge's ID bill. We passed this out, and we were able to make some changes to ensure that the cost remains zero to the state. The probate courts will administer the IDs. This is the same concept we voted on last time. I urge your support. Thank you.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 9th will stand by. All right, let's quieten the chamber down. I know that everybody's having a great time, and it's a fun day, being the last day of the General Assembly, and get to go home to your families, and a lot to be excited about, but let's quieten the chamber down. It's getting real noisy. On the motion, the yeas are 53, the nays are 0. Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 9th.
And I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 302.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 302 by Senator Martin of the 9th and others, a bill to be entitled an Act to amend Title 33 of the CGA related insurance so as to require health carriers to maintain accurate provider directories and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
You're recognized.
Mr. President, thank you very much. This is SB 302, the Provider Directory Bill. The only changes are changes in nomenclature. The bill does the same thing as it did when it left our chamber.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 18th will stand by. Senator from the 18th will stand by. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 51, 41. I mean, really? Really? 50, and the nays are 2, and Senators agreed. Chair recognizes Senator 18th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to SB 128.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 128 by Senator Kennedy the 18th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 8 of Chapter 2, Title 14 of the OCG related to directors and officers so as to enact reforms consistent with the model act and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is Senate Bill 128. This is the corporate code annual revision that we actually did last year. We passed it out. It was held up on the House side and at the last moment, but it's come back to us and urge your support. Thank you. Yield the well.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Let me have the Senate's attention for just a moment. We have, I don't know how, 22 wonderful pages at almost 11:30 at night, way past their curfew, but they're still here in the Senate working hard, and we appreciate each of you. Cassidy, Jake, Austin, Keeley, Lauren, James, Jacob, Ava, Troy, Holt, Jessica. I mean, the list goes on and on. Let's give them a round of applause, all right? Great job. Thank y'all very much. That strong work ethic will carry you a long way in life, I can assure you. Thank you. All right. I will. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 46 and the nays are 0, and this bill, MC Rex constitutes majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the first.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 320.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 320 by Senator Watson of the first and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 5, Title 40 of the OCGA relating to issuance and expiration of renewal of licenses and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the first.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has to do with the international driver's permit. This is through the Economic Development Office and the governor's bill. We were one of 2 states that did the IDP, and we were trying to make it easier, but we decided instead to do away with it. Met no resistance. There's also some cleanup language coming from the House on taxis and limos. I have thoroughly evaluated that, and that is benign. I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
All those in favor of that's benign will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Only a good physician can give you that good news. Y'all may be shredding that paper a little bit early. Senator from the first will stand by again. Hopefully we'll have another benign one. On the motion, the yeas are 43 and the nays are 7, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the first.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate amendment to House Bill 910.
Read the caption.
House Bill 910 by Representative Frye, the 118th, and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 33 of Title 38(1) of the OCGA relating to health records and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator first.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually a medical bill. This had to do with the psychological records and the HIPAA protection that was afforded to that prior to that. This is now back to the original version that passed out of the Health and Human Services Committee unanimously. Thank you.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 48 and the nays are 3. And the motion, or the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes who's got 208? Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd. No, make the motion, make the motion, make the motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 208.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 208 by Senator Ramsey, the 43rd, and others, a bill to be entitled an act to incorporate the city of Stonecrest into DeKalb County and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd.
Mr. President and Senate colleagues, Senate Bill 208 allows for a voter referendum for the city of Stonecrest, which is a proposed city of 50,000 citizens. And we do agree to the changes made by the House, which are reductions in the salaries for this mayor and city council members. Thank you, Mr.
You
President.
have a question. Chair recognizes Senator from the 40th. No, speak. No question, Senator.
Thank you. I yield
Chair
the well.
recognizes Senator from the 40th.
Mr. President, I'll be brief. This is an area that it's a primarily Democratic area in DeKalb County, and these people did everything that we asked them to do in order to become a city, and I sure urge your favorable consideration. I do find it ironic we have this bill coming over from the House. We sent them a bill which was supported by our governor to eliminate the CEO position in DeKalb County, a Republican bill, and we couldn't even get a bill out of the House. So I urge your favorable consideration of this bill because some of us like to keep our word. Thank you so much.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage, on the motion, the yeas are 39, the nays are 12. Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd again. '43rd, you have another one.
Which one did he say? Mr. President, can you clarify the bill number, please?
879. House Bill 879.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to HB 879.
Read the caption.
House Bill 879, Representative Taylor, 79th, and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the OCGA relating to elementary and secondary educational programs and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd.
Mr. President, House Bill 879 establishes the Georgia Seal of Biliteracy to recognize high school students who have attained a level of proficiency in speaking, reading, and writing one or more languages in addition to English. It provides employers with a method to identify people with language and biliteracy skills and provides universities with a method to recognize and give academic credit to applicants seeking admission. I ask for your favorable vote on HB 879. If there are no questions, Mr. President, I yield the well.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Unlock. Senator from the 8th will stand by. Senator from the 8th. On the motion, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 1, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 8th. Sorry.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute for Senate Bill 184.
Read the caption, 184.
Senate Bill 184 by Senator Black of the 8th and others, a bill to be entitled enactment Article 1 of Chapter 8 of Title 4 of the OCGA relating to general provisions and relative to dogs, and for other purposes, Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 8th.
Listen up, boys and girls. It's a brand new language, but it's very simple. All this bill does is say that the owners of hunting dogs and purebred breeders will pay the same fee from a local government as the people that have spayed and neutered dogs. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. If not,
All those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 15th. 15th will stand by. On the motion, the yeas are 40 and the nays are 9, and the motion with Senate is agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 15th.
That the Senate agreed to the House substitute to Senate Bill 18.
Senate Bill 18, read the caption.
Senate Bill 18 by Senator Harbison of the 15th and others, a bill to be entitled enactment Article 2 of Chapter 4 of Title 20 of the OCGA, and for the purposes, Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. President. All this bill does is the House added a clarifying statement that said this educational standard would only apply to military personnel. There are no questions, Mr. President. I yield
All
the
those
well.
in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the ayes are 47 and the nays are 0, and Senate is agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 2nd.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 319.
Read the caption.
Senate Bill 319 by Senator Jackson, second, others, a bill to be entitled enactment Code Section 43-10A-3 of the OCGA with definitions relative to professional counsels and for other purposes, Mr. President, that completes the order.
I need to get out of that. Mr. President, members, 319 is a very simple bill. It grants counselors the right to diagnose. It helps psychologists. It helps counselors. It's a very good bill. I urge you to vote yes. Thank you. I yield the will.
All those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 47, the nays are 5. And the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes item 26. 26.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 388.
388, read the caption.
Senate Bill 388 by Senator Lucas to the 26th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 27, Title 50 of the OCGA relating to bona fide coin-operated amusement machines and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Mr. President, Mr. President, members of the Senate, you know, when this bill left us, it had a misdemeanor fine on removing stickers from machines. What the House did, number one, it says that if there's a hearing on revocation of the license, you cannot transfer that to a family member or to another business person or try to sell it. Number two, they said that if you do a duplicate permit on A machines, it's $25. On B machines, it's $125. Third thing they did was on the 50-50 rule, what they did is allow where the American Legions, VFW, Elks Club now can do fundraisers with the machine as long as they abide by the law.
I think everybody's fine with it, Senator.
And then the last part is the last part is they put in that not only will the machine operator, if they violate the law, they will pay as well as the location owner. And then the last one on that Senate Bill 190, where you have an arbitrator, which means that a dispute in any hearing, an arbitrator can extend the discovery. I ask for your favor.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the ayes are 43, the nays are 9. The Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd again. 43rd.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate sub to House Bill 659.
Read the caption.
House Bill 659 by Representative Belton of the 112th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 14, Title 20 of the OCGA relating to education, accountability, and assessment programs and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 43rd.
Mr. President and Senate colleagues, I ask for your unanimous support of this bill, which allows for transparency for parents and people in the community who can look online and now find the budget for their school. Thank you. I yield the well.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion, the ayes are 50, the nays are 0, and the Senate has agreed. Who's next? Chair recognizes Senator from the 18th. What you got? 18th.
To the Senate, House Bill 811.
Read the caption.
House Bill 811 by Senator Williamson of the 15th and others, a bill to be entitled and act extensively amend Title 7 of the OCT relating to banking and finances to update, modernize, streamline numerous code sections and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Mr. President, colleagues, I bring you House Bill 811. This was passed by the House as the Banking Agency Revision Bill. This came to us. There was an amendment that was added to that. The House has stripped that back out. It comes back to us as we originally approved it. The author of the amendment is in agreement that the current 811 before you is should be voted on as is. I ask for your vote. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 18th. You already speak. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary unlock the machine. On the motion, the ayes are 46, the nays are 4, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator 29.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 59.
Read the caption.
House Bill 59, Representative Willard of the 31st and others, a bill to be entitled and act to amend Chapter 21 and Title 50 of the OCGA and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator 29. Let's keep it. Everybody's listen. It's way too noisy in here. Quieten it down.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am asking that the Senate agree to the House amendment to House Bill 59. This bill deals with sovereign immunity. What it allows is for individuals to sue the state under certain circumstances for equitable relief as well as monetary relief. We added some language. What the House added had to do with quiet title actions. We made a change in the Senate Judiciary Committee to try and do that. The House wanted to change it, put it in a different section. That's what they did. So I would urge your favorable consideration. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary unlock the machine. Senator from the 45th will stand by.
Marty.
On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 0. Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from 45th. 45th. Listen, guys, we got to quieten down in here. It's getting real noisy, seriously. I need y'all's attention. I don't mind you having a conversation, but let's have a whisper instead of a roar. Senator from the 45th. 45th. 45th.
I move, Mr. President, to agree to the House amendment to the Senate amendment to House Bill 362.
Read the caption.
House Bill 362 by Representative
and come
Clark of the
forward,
first, and
Senator.
others, a bill to be entitled and act to amend Part 3 of Article 16 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the OCGA, and for other purposes, Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the bill that we had previously passed about pseudoephedrine, and it gives the pharmacies the ability to track so that people cannot go in and buy an abundant supply to be able to make methamphetamine. I ask for your favorable consideration. I'll yield for any questions. There's no questions. I ask you to please vote yes.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary unlock the machine. You're next, Senator. Senator from the 48th will stand by. On the motion, the yeas are 43 and the nays are 6, and Senate's agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from 48.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 960.
Read the caption.
House Bill 960 by Representative Kelly of the 16th and others, a bill to be entitled and act to amend Chapter 2, Title 48 of the OCGA, and for other purposes, Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 48.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this bill is substantially the same bill that we voted on an hour and a half ago. The House made slight changes to the schedule of penalties. It still caps at 20%, but it accrues over a year and 4 months instead of a year. Urge your favorable consideration of this motion.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary unlock the machine. Senator from the 20. All right, listen up, listen up. Senator from the 23rd, be ready for your conference committee. On the motion, the yeas are 43 and the nays are, 47, the nays are 4, and the motion has passed. Chair recognizes Senator from 23rd.
Mr. President, I move that Senate adopt the conference committee report on HB 205.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committees of conference on House Bill 205 recommend that both the House and the Senate representatives receive from their positions that the attached committees of conference substitute House to Bill 205 be adopted. Mr. President, the Committee of Conference substitute to House Bill 205 will be entitled Enactment Chapter 5, Title 48, and Article 7 of Chapter 38 and Title 42 of the OCGA, and for the purposes, Mr. President, that will be so ordered.
Chair recognizes Senator from 23rd. Present the conference committee report. Quieten down the chamber.
HB 205 provides an option for persons arrested for a first DUI in 5 years to obtain a temporary driving permit by waiving the administrative appeal and agreeing to installation of an ignition interlock device. The period of time varies from 4 months to 12 months, depending on whether the defendant blows at the scene of the arrest. Mr. President, if there are no questions, I'll yield. I urge favorable consideration for HB 205 conference report. It is passed the House. It is endorsed by our Public Safety Commissioner, Colonel McDonough, the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, and DDS, and Mothers Against Drunk Drivers.
Senators move the Senate adopt the conference committee report on House Bill 205. All those in favor vote aye. Those no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the adoption of the conference committee report, the yeas are 39, the nays are 15. The Senate has adopted the conference committee report. Chair recognizes Senator from the 6th. 937.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 937.
Read the caption.
House Bill 937 by Representative Harold, 106, and others will be entitled Enactment Code Section 48-8-3 of the OCGA, and for the purposes, Mr. President, that will be so ordered.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 6th. Present the bill.
Senators, this bill we had a long discussion about today. It was the economic development bill. We increased the sunset from 16 to 19. That stayed the same. The only difference is we changed. What got taken out was the amendment for the $400 million cap for a project, and now they've just increased the sunset on the rental car tax fee from 2038 until 2047. If there's no questions, I'll yield the well.
One question. Chair recognizes Senator 29th.
Will the senator yield?
I will.
So the only change is the sunset date, because I don't believe we have the amendment on our desks.
You don't, and you know, so I'm just telling you, it used to say you could qualify for a project of $400 million or more, and it had to be 20 years of lack of being able to develop the property. All that's out. It's not going to qualify for a project for a regional significance anymore. The only thing that's now kept in the bill is that you can use the rental car fee from, instead of 2038, you can use it until 2047. I'll yield the well.
All those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine.
If you voted for the bill the first time, you would definitely vote for it again. The gulch is gone in terms of the $400 million and the aspects of the just the rental car tax fee.
Senator from the 11th, stand by. 199. On the motion, the yeas are 41, the nays are 9, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 11th on the conference committee. 11th. No, move.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate adopt the conference committee report on Senate Bill 199.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committee's a conference substitute to Senate Bill 199, bill to be entitled enactment entitled 20 of the OCG area in the election so as to provide definition for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
This conference committee report that's been on your desk for a couple of hours now, it keeps in the senator from the 17th language on the municipal elections, and also includes new disclosure language that has been requested by the Ethics Commission. It does not have any dark money language in it at all. I appreciate your adoption of the conference committee 199.
Chair recognizes you have a senator from. He's yielded the well. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Chair recognizes Senator from 39th.
Parliamentary inquiry, please.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that a voting bill after midnight on sine die, it is of great concern that changing voting rules and the voting laws at a time when we have experienced over the last 10 years a great deal of diminution of voting rights? Shouldn't we be cautious and vote against this bill so that we could be assured that nothing is being done to diminish the voting rights of Georgians?
Senator has great passion for which he speaks. On the adoption of the conference committee reports, the yeas are 34, nays are 17, and the Senate has adopted the conference committee report. Are you ready for 808? Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th. 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 808.
Read the caption. 808, read the caption.
House Bill 808 by Representative Willard of the 51st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 15 of the OCGA relating to interventions relative to courts and for other purposes. Mr. President, that will complete the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate and others. This is House Bill 808. This is the enabling legislation for the Judicial Qualifications Commission. We have the constitutional amendment that we placed on the ballot. This would be the new iteration. The differences in the House version from what you passed here are really only related to the composition of the Judicial Qualifications Commission. The language from the North Carolina model in terms of privacy and how they conduct their business is fundamentally unchanged. What this model would have is 2 judges appointed by the Supreme Court of Georgia, a member of the state bar appointed by the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, and the Governor. Those members of the state bar would come from a list submitted by the Board of Governors of the State Board of Georgia for consideration. 2 citizen members, one appointed by the Speaker, one by the President of the Senate, would also be members of the Judicial Qualifications Commission, and the nominee from the Governor would be the chairperson of the board. This is consistent with what we passed the other night on the constitutional amendment. It requires approval and confirmation by the Senate of all the appointees. Mr. President, I would yield for questions on this important piece. If there are no questions, I yield the will and ask your favorable consideration.
Senator on the 41st.
Are you?
I yield.
Is it not true that many people did have concerns about the privacy changes and whether or not it was at the proper level, and many of the minority caucus especially voted against the bill, the constitutional amendment, also because there were concerns in the underlying bill?
Senator, I believe you're exactly right. I will say this, that if the constitutional amendment fails, then this has no effect. But if the constitutional amendment passes, something has to be in place. This follows a model that appears to have worked well in North Carolina. We have established some significant privacy elements relative to what was passed in the House.
Chair recognizes him 28 for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will Senator yield?
I yield.
So if I'm correct, is it correct to say that now the JQC members will be dominantly picked by members of the 2 branches of government that are outside the judiciary?
The majority of members would be appointed by non-judicial branch, but I think that's the case currently, Senator.
You think that's the case, or you know?
Well, there's only 2 judges appointed by the Supreme Court right now. I mean, and that's the judicial branch.
The other 2 are appointed by the bar.
Which is not a branch of any government.
That is true, but it's certainly not one of the executive or legislative branches.
It is a non-governmental entity. That is true.
So this is a consolidation of that power within the branches outside the judiciary.
The Board of Governors will have the authority to, will be the ones providing the list to those officials.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will. I ask your favorable consideration.
The senator from the 29th wishes to be recognized.
It is approximately a quarter after midnight, and we are talking about taking a vote on the agency that guarantees the integrity of the judicial branch of government. And I appreciate the senator from the 54th giving the explanation. I don't have the amendment on my desk. I don't think anybody else does. You know, this is not the way we should be doing business. I hope you will vote no, just to send a clear message that we are not going to do business this way, particularly when it comes to the agency that guarantees the integrity of the judicial branch of government. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senators, all you vote, or senators gonna vote? On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 30 and the nays are 25, and the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 52nd. 52nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask the Senate to adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 64.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committees of conference offer the following substitute to Senate Bill 64, a bill to be entitled Enactment Code Section 15-11-29, Title 19, Chapter 10, Title 31 of the OCGA relating to definitions for the juvenile code and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 52nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. This child legitimation bill passed the Senate last year 51-3. It had a bunch of garbage tacked on, maybe good stuff, I don't know, but on both houses, made it die. We've cleaned it back down to the original bill, supported by the judges, Hospital Association, everybody on this. I request your favorable consideration.
All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 29th, stand by. Conference committee. On the conference committee report, the yeas are 53, the nays are 0, and the conference committee report is adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from 29th, 904.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adopt the conference report on House Bill 904.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committees of conference offer the following substitute to House Bill 904, a bill to be entitled Enactment in Chapter 8 of Title 34 of the OCGA relating to employment security service prevent fraud and abuse of the unemployment trust fund by authorizing the Commissioner of Labor and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of Conference on House Bill 904, this is essentially a combination of House Bill 903 and House Bill 904 dealing with the Unemployment Trust Fund. And what it specifically does is change the periods for which a new or newly covered employer shall pay contributions. It also changes the date from 2016, when it was going to sunset, to 2022. That's really what it does throughout the bill. All of these rate structures were scheduled to expire at the end of this calendar year, and so we need to pass the conference report to extend the sunset date to December 31st, 2022. Thank you, Mr. President.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 11th will stand by. On the conference committee report, the yeas are 48 and the nays are 3, and the conference committee report's been adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 11th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate adopt the conference committee report on Senate Bill 258.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committees of conference offer the following substitute Senate Bill 258, a bill to be title enactment Article 1 of Chapter 8 of Title 31, Chapter 2 of Title 40, and Title 48 of the CGA, and for the purposes, Mr. President, completes the order.
Chair recognizes 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I urge adoption of the conference committee report on Senate Bill 258. This is the most important bill of the session as regards to rural health care. This will give rural hospitals up to $4 million in tax credits per hospital. The eligibility will be determined by the Department of Community Health. The limits are outlined in the bill. I urge your adoption of this committee report. It's been worked on for several weeks, and all of the rural hospitals and associations are in support. I appreciate your support.
Senator is yielded. Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st wants to speak on the conference committee.
Members of the Senate, this late minute, I'd just like to point out to you that this bill has a tax cut that will be $50 million first year, $60 million the second year, $70 million the third year, and that this tax cut will be used to help rural hospitals, which we know are in trouble. So some members see the urgency and may go in this direction. But I tell you this today, if we did our job as General Assembly and took the monies that are in those tax breaks each year and put $50 million, for instance, into Medicaid, we could draw down matching funds and get over $170 million. We could also get more money the following years in the proper direction. This is not the best way to fund our hospitals. This is not the smartest way to spend our money, and I urge you to defeat this bill. I understand the pressures in rural health care in our state, but if we passed Medicaid expansion several years ago when we had 100% of federal dollars, we would have brought billions of dollars to Georgia. We will have saved thousands of lives, and we would have improved this state's economy tremendously. This is a Band-Aid, and it is wrong that we have addressed health care in this manner, and this bill is not the most efficient way we could do it in the immediate future. Thank you.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Chair recognizes Senator 36. What purpose you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that this version of this bill was defeated with a bipartisan vote in the Health and the Human Services Senate Committee?
I'm sure the senator knows from which she speaks.
Indeed, I do. Thank you.
All right. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 31 and the nays are 18. The conference committee report has been adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 6th.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 936.
Read the caption.
House Bill 936, Representative Harold 106 and others will be entitled enactment Article 2 of Chapter 7 Title 48 of the CGA relating to imposition, rate, computation, and exemption from income taxes and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 6th. Hey.
Isn't this fun? Let's just hang out a little bit longer. All right, I bring to you House Bill 936. This was the bill that we were creating a wage increase in the tax credit so that it, instead of doing the aggregate, every job that you were offering was even, was above a certain number. That stayed the same. What was added was an amendment that creates an income credit for employers who hire parolees. I'll take questions, otherwise.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st.
Inquiry, Mr. Chairman. The senator from the 6th was recognized and sauntered down to the well, but no motion has been made.
I made a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, the mic wasn't on. Okay.
Yeah. All right, very good. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Senator from the 7th will stand by. On the conference committee reports, the yeas 45 and the nays are 9 in the conference committee report. Or excuse me, the Senate has agreed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 7th.
Mr. President, I move the Senate adopt the conference committee report on House Bill 727.
Read the caption.
Mr. President, the committees of conference offer the following substitute House Bill 727, a bill to be entitled Act amendment Title 25 of the OCGA relating to fire protection and safety and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Oh, yes. Quietly. Chair recognizes 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the only difference between this and what we passed out of the House is add some things for Firefighter Training Council and also changes the time from 10 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Get their attention over there. I can't get them on the phone. Tell them to pick up the phone. Secretary will read 2 privilege resolutions. Everyone be quiet.
Senate Resolution 1261, recognizing and commending Senator Tommy Williams. Senate Resolution 1262, recognizing and commending Senator Bill Jackson.
Is there objection to those 2 privilege resolutions? Oh, there he is, but I'm going to override that objection and be adopted. Congratulations to both of you. We're going to miss you deeply. Sorry we weren't able to give you more. Very much. Surrounded by the people you love the most here on this last night. Thank you. No, he's still on the passage of the bill. The yeas are 49, the nays are 3, and this bill having received the Constitution majority is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 46th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll move the Senate adjourn. Sine die.
Sine die.